Justin, we were discussing before that you've expanded your team recently. And how are you putting all of this into practice in your day-to-day?
Well, thankfully, the people that I found have very good work ethics, and sometimes even when you're doing an interview for a managerial role, they will ask you how to take care of certain situations. An example that I like to give is that I've had instances where I went in and started to manage a new team, and when you're in a new role, people will come, pay attention for that guy, or that guy is good,
Yeah.
for example. And once, not once, it happens more than one, really and truly, that they come and tell you, listen, pay attention to that employee because he's lazy, for example, or he doesn't take initiative. But what happens most of the time is that it's not the person, the issue, but it's the environment and his leader, his superior.
Okay.
And an example that comes to mind is that one of my roles, I had an employee, who was a very good girl, and they used to tell me, listen, she doesn't take initiative. You need to push her. And by the time going, I noticed that she really needed a push. And obviously, I sat down with her and I spoke to her and tried to push her get more initiative. But what happens is that her previous manager used to tell her that she needs to always abide by his instructions. So what he did, he grabbed this person and put her into a cocoon where she couldn't move.
Because she was expecting an instruction, always expecting.
And once she noticed that the leadership is different, for example, and she can be creative in her work, she really thrived and was doing a very, very sterling work. So sometimes we tend to look at the easy way. The person is not good. Let's get another one. But really and truly, most of the times, it did happen to me as well. I'm not perfect, so I look at myself and I say that with that person, I have to get a different approach. And when you understand and you accept that you have to change your approach, most of the time, it happens. But obviously, the person has to have good work ethics, because there are people that are lazy. I'm not saying that everyone is a good worker, but if the person has good work ethics, you can do a lot of things with him.
What are good work ethics to you?
Well, you're asking very difficult questions.
I'm getting around for it.
So one of the main points, the main hints of work ethics is that when you're out of the office, if the operation is still ongoing and the initiatives are still there, it means that there are good work ethics.
Okay.
If you go out of the office and your department stops, it means that once that you're away, people go back not to do anything and wait for you to do something. So when they say, when the cat is not there, the mouse stays.
Yes.
So I tend to look at it a lot. So when you have people taking initiative out of their own, and sometimes even going the extra mile, it means that they have very good work ethics and don't have these different agendas that they want to try and not find work to do. And another hint would be that when you go with a new idea, whether it is accepted by negative feedback or positive feedback, not because all ideas are good, but when you have people trying always to find the negative side of things, not to get a project started, it means that they would rather prefer not to do anything than to thrive and do a good job in the end.
Sometimes I think it's lack of direction as well, because sometimes the goal is too big and it's very blurry, sometimes even for the leader as well. So in that case, how do you facilitate and get the person going in that project?
Yeah, actually, that thing happened to me here because when I came, I was the first person in my department. So I had to start shaping the department from inception, basically. And when these new members came on board, I was still a bit vague, even on my objectives. But what we did, I took it as a priority to start highlighting and identifying the department's objectives, which obviously will go hand in hand with the company or agency's objective. I had called my team members. We sat around. You saw my office. I have the whiteboard, a lot of things written on there. I like to scribble. And we started to come up with different ideas. And now we were doing it as a weekly task. Every Friday, we get something to eat together. So even to build morale, to build relationship and bond together. And we look at the projects, we identify new ideas, we identify new projects on what we can work, and have tasks identified for each person. So every person every week has some task to do. Not task really and truly, it's a goal rather than a task, because then it's up to the person to try and find the best way for him to achieve the result.
Yeah. So it's measurable as well, because it's you have a week and a week to complete the goal, or at least to do something about that task, because some tasks obviously take longer.
Sometimes it will take longer, but even for a person, sometimes he will get he will find some difficulties, for example. But the fact that every Friday we sit around the table and we are discussing our progress, that person has the ability to express and share the difficulties that he's facing, and together we discuss them and try to overcome these barriers. And until now, it seems to be successful.
Okay.